Hello, and welcome to another Joyful Gem with Audrey Joy. When I was a senior in high school, I was selected to be a page at the South Dakota State Legislature. It was an honor to be selected, and I would spend 3 weeks away from home, essentially living on my own and taking care of myself for the very first time in my life. There were plenty of adults around, just no one was supervising. They were busy making laws. I stayed in a huge Victorian-style house not far from the Capitol, and my guest area was on the very top floor. Heat was a bit sparse that far up from the heater, and I remember that there was a little bit of heat in the bathroom, but it was still cold. This was motivation to shower and dress quickly in the early morning hours. My hostess took me to the Capitol every morning. I don't recall how I got home at night, but I do remember we often worked well into the nights. I also don't remember weekend breaks, although they must have had them, as the representatives usually went home on the weekends. I'm guessing I spent my weekends catching up on sleep and probably working on homework in my cold guest room. Now, when I say my hostess, basically she provided me a ride and a bed. I was on my own for food. I ate cereal for breakfast each morning. I packed a lunch. Other meals were on my own, and my parents had given me some money, but having never been on my own before, I had no idea how long it would last. And it wasn't like I could just run home and get more. I was 5 hours from home. We didn't have ATMs back then. I was scared to death that I was going to run out of money. I was told to make it last, and so I did. I'm sure I didn't go hungry, but I was already living like a starving college kid. A highlight I do remember was all the pages before the term started were invited to have dinner with Governor and Mrs. Janklow in the governor's residence. Janklow was a colorful character, to say the least, and my parents were very eager to hear all the details of the spaghetti dinner in the governor's mansion. And I use that term loosely. It is South Dakota, after all. The home I grew up in was about 2,500 square feet. I don't think the governor's home was much bigger than that. Being a page basically meant I was a gopher for the representative I was working for. I ran errands, I picked up dry cleaning, I made copies, and so on. Mostly the job was just to be available. And that meant a lot of sitting around and watching how the sausage was made in South Dakota politics, at least how it was made back in 1982. I learned a couple of things in my 3-week stint as a page. Politics probably wasn't my passion, therefore probably not in my future. And I wasn't ready to be that far from home. Yet. Pierre was a 5-hour drive from the homestead in Oral, South Dakota. Brookings, South Dakota, which was where I was planning to attend college at SDSU, was 8 hours. Chadron State College, though, just across the border in Nebraska, a 1-hour drive. As an 18-year-old kid, chomping at the bit to grow up and get on with my life, I had the maturity to recognize I wasn't quite as ready as I thought. It wasn't at all that I wanted to be running home every weekend, and I didn't. I attended Chadron, and my parents were hard-pressed to get me home at all. There was just something comforting about knowing that Mom and Dad could get to me, or I could get to them quickly if I really needed them. I needed the comfort of home. If you found value in this gem, share it with a friend and hit that like button underneath your screen there. You can also follow me on my Facebook page, This Is For Me, or follow me on, or you can become a newsletter subscriber by logging into my website, thisisforme.com. Or you know what? You can just email me, audreyjoy@thisisforme.com. Be joyful.